Right now, the stock market is rallying around the news that former President Trump will be named the 47th president of the United States. The Dow actually hit a new record high early in trading this morning. Concerns over inflation were top of mind this election cycle for voters. 22% of voters polled by CBS News called it a severe hardship, while you can see here 53% called it a moderate hardship.
CBS News MoneyWatch correspondent Kelly O'Grady is in Washington for us. Kelly, it was a much different economic landscape last time with Trump as president. There was a global pandemic that was weighing on economic growth. People were sheltering at home. Businesses were closing their doors. Is there more promise for the U.S. economy this time around?
You know, Lana, I think there definitely is. And you also have to think about pre-pandemic where the economy was. We were humming along under former President Trump. And I think voters remembered that. And a lot of the folks that voted for him said, well, you know what? I want to go back to that. I want to go back to what my pocketbook felt like then. In terms of what his term would mean for the economy, it's really hard to parse out. He suggested a lot of policies with very few specifics. So tariffs is a really good example. He's suggested imposing a 10% tariff on all goods imported into the United States. That could absolutely spike inflation, but he's also said, well, that's actually a negotiating tactic. So you could see increased revenue into our coffers and better economic conditions. Another great one is tax cuts, right? Americans could get some relief there, but that could also increase our debt. So just with every policy, there hasn't been enough details from the former president, but there could be good, there could be bad. As you said, though, the Dow right now, it is up close to 1,500 points. Investors really like this. They like the outlook for what it means for corporations. But as we all know, what happens with the market doesn't always mean exactly what's happening with your pocketbook, Lana.
Yeah.
All right, so let's combine two of the biggest components of this election, which is immigration and the economy. What kind of economic impact could the deportation of illegal immigrants have on our economy?
So look, if it happens overnight, it would be huge. You're going to have a lot of laborers that aren't there. The thing is, logistically, it would be impossible to happen overnight. And VP-elect J.D. Vance has said they will go after criminals first and then sort of move on to the rest of folks. So I think it's going to be more of a gradual push if they decide to do that. But there's no question that this would impact agriculture. This would impact laborers for building more homes. On the flip side, again, everyone has a positive and a negative when it comes to policy. You would have less demand on the need for housing. So it is very hard to quantify what that would be. But we do know that this would cost billions and billions of dollars. And so that would mean more government spending, which could also be very inflationary. But like I said, this wouldn't happen overnight. And let's remember, Congress also holds the purse strings. We could have a Republican House and Senate, but you are going to have to get a lot of buy-in from elected officials to make any of these things happen.
Kelly, I believe that you are there for the Fed meeting. Very exciting. Do we expect that the Fed will take the election of former President Trump into their calculation when they decide what to do about interest rates?
That is the exact question, Lana, that I want to ask Fed Chair Powell tomorrow.
Great minds, Kelly.
Yes, great minds think alike. How does this, with potentially inflationary policies like those tariffs, impact their rate cutting thinking? Look, I don't think, however, it is going to impact this cut that we are expecting to get tomorrow. We're expecting a quarter point. But what it could determine is more of that. What are we going to have happen in December? What does January look like? What does the next year look like? It really could impact how they're thinking about the rate cutting cycle as a whole. The other thing I want to ask Fed Chair Powell is, how are we feeling about job security, right? Former President Trump will have the ability to impact who would be the next chair come May 2026 when Fed Chair Powell's term is over. If he doesn't like what he sees, he could decide to pull him. So that certainly would be on the federal chair's, I would imagine, on his mind at this moment.
All right.
Kelly O'Grady, thank you as always.